Nate, what do you think of this one?
Hard no. Nope.
I don't really know what to say about it.
What do you think of this one?
If I'm being honest, it's probably no, but because I like more traditional stuff personally.
Like I think
What do
it's
you think?
like for an Epiphone, if I was gonna buy an Epiphone here, it'd be that one.
It would be that one.
Yeah.
See, I like this one. This would be the one. Classic color.
I guess
That's
I
what I'd go
already
for.
kind of have that at home though.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay,
And
wait. Wait.
No. If I was gonna get that, something like that, it would be. No, I just don't like the color combination. Right, I could get something that's the exact same features in a different color. That's the only
Yeah,
reason.
I feel like there's a big difference between like guitars and speedboats. Speedboats can be black and red, but guitars I don't think should be black and red.
Like this.
See, I like this one. This would be the one. Classic color.
I guess the blue one over there. That's almost the same thing that I like.
That's fair. That's fair.
So aesthetics matter.
Clearly aesthetics matter.
With all the options out there today, as far as electric guitars, it can be pretty tough to know what to buy if you're, especially if you're just getting into electric guitar, like coming over from acoustic or something like that. But the two options or the two questions that I like to ask people first, right off the bat, just kind of narrow the field down, is how much do you want to spend, and what type of music do you like? Do you like blues, metal, rock, or do you like a specific type of player? Answering those two questions can really help you narrow the field down or your options down when you're trying to pick an electric guitar. And that's why I wanted to create this video, is to give you just some good information to make a good purchase when you're getting your first electric guitar.
Yeah, that's right. And while there are a ton of guitar companies out there that you can look at, there's kind of four main camps that everything's based on. So you have your Fender, Gibson, Ibanez, and Gretsch. And like I said, there are a lot more. But basically, what we're going to talk about in the rest of this video is going to be the differences between those camps and how they affect price and things like that.
And we could talk about like the differences all day, but there are a few main points when you're starting to get into electric guitar that if you just consider those, you're gonna have a pretty good idea of what you like as far as feel, sound, looks, all of those things. And the first thing, like I said, that you really should address is price. How much do you want to spend? When you do that, if you say I'm gonna spend $500, you knock everything else out and you give yourself some limited options. So I kind of categorize things as far as price from zero, free guitar, to $300, and then from $300 to $500, $500 to $1,000, and then $1,000 plus. And if you kind of pick one of those categories, you kind of have a pretty standardized package that you're going to get as far as quality, features, things like that. So set your budget so you don't spend all of your rent money for the month, and so you have a really good idea of what you want to get when you go into the music store.
That's right. And to take a step even further back, we can kind of split all of our electric guitars into two really main camps, and that is humbuckers, single coils, right? So Fenders usually have single coils, and some Ibanez's and things like that, and then something like a Gibson's gonna have a humbucker. And there's actually a really big difference between them. So we're gonna show you a few playing clips really quick that will give you the differences. Okay, so the main differences between humbuckers and single coils are that single coils are a lot brighter, typically a little janglier, and humbuckers are going to be darker, thicker sounding, usually a little bit more rock and roll. I know for myself, my first electric guitar, it had single coils on it. I wanted to play metal, and that was the wrong choice, right? I couldn't quite get the sound that I was hearing on those records. So that's something that you want to look out for.
And I have guitars with both single coils and humbuckers, and I kind of go back and forth depending on what I'm in the mood for, and it's all about what kind of tone you like. Do you like, B.B. King, that thicker sound, a little bit more dark, or do you like Stevie Ray Vaughan, this little more biting, edgy, bright? Neither of them are better than the other, they're just different.
Right, and that's within the same genre too.
Yeah. The next thing you're going to want to consider when you're buying an electric guitar is the type of neck it has, or the neck construction. Does it have a set neck or bolt-on?
Bolt-on.
And it's kind of the same difference between single coils and humbuckers. One's
Yeah.
going to give you a brighter sound, the bolt-on neck. It's going to be snappier, not as much sustain, and the set neck is going to give you more like a humbucker, darker, fuller sound with a little bit more sustain. It's not good or bad. It's just, it is what it is, and you have to kind of experiment with those two sounds and see what you like and what suits the style of music that you want to pursue.
That's right. So when it comes to bodies, we kind of have three main body styles. So one is solid body, which is much like these. Then we have semi-hollow body, which has hollow sides and then a block up the middle, a solid block up the middle. And then you have fully hollow body guitars as well. Now, fully hollow body guitars, probably not the best choice if you're going to do high gain stuff, right? They tend to feed back a lot with distortion. So then you want to go solid body. And another thing to keep in mind as well is that solid bodies tend to be a little bit more bright and snappy, whereas hollow bodies tend to be on the darker side, usually used for jazz and things like that. And then semi-hollows are going to be somewhere in the middle.
And it's kind of like the same difference between single coils and humbuckers. Solid body would be like the single coil, brighter, snappier.
That's right.
Humbuckers would be like the hollow body or the semi-hollow body.
Yeah, exactly.
Another thing that you need to consider when picking out a guitar is, do you want a vibrato bar, a tremolo on it? There are hardtails, guitars like this one, or like a tunematic bridge on a Les Paul that are a little bit more stable, easier to set up. If you do get a whammy bar on your guitar, like a Bigsby or a Fender Strat, or like this, in this case, like a Floyd Rose, it is a little bit more difficult to set up. It's not hard, it just requires more information for you to do, and you have to take your time with it. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be a pain. So just keep that in mind. I bought one of these way before I should in my guitar career. I had no idea how to set it up. It was a big source of frustration, but it was fun once I learned how to set it up, so just keep that in mind.
That's right. So ultimately it boils kind of down to two big questions. Do you like the way the guitar feels in your hands? And do you like the way it looks? Now, that might sound a little bit vain, but I know personally, for me, the way a guitar looks is hugely impactful on whether or not I'm going to buy that guitar, right?
So aesthetics matter.
Clearly aesthetics matter. As far as feel goes, that's going to kind of be a personal preference thing. There's not kind of one answer for everybody, right?
Feel for me is a big thing. Like, I can go look at all the specs of a guitar, you know, the pickups, is it hollow body, semi-hollow body, does it have a tremolo, all that stuff, and none of that matters if I pick the guitar up and I don't like the way it feels. So that's a really big important part of it to me. And if it looks great, that's just the icing on the cake for me too. So that is something to consider when you're picking out a guitar. So Andrew and I have 3 recommendations for you for our top 3 favorite guitars, electric guitars under $500. And these are brand new guitars for the price, and don't be afraid to buy a used guitar too. You can save a lot of money, kind of go up to that next tier of price. But if you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't know a lot about electric guitars, try and take a friend with you that does know a lot about it, so you don't get ripped off, or you don't get something that's not what you want, or something that's broken. But my top 3 picks for electric guitars under $500 are a PRS SE Standard, a Classic Vibe Tele, SQUIRE Classic Vibe Tele, and then an Ibanez ARTCORE AS75.
And when Nate asked me to get this list together, I thought it was kind of funny because my list was Classic Vibe Strat, Classic Vibe Tele, and Classic Vibe Thinline Tele, which is the one with the humbuckers and the semi-hollow body. It's kind of a boring list, kind of shows my bias a little bit towards Fender stuff, so I changed it up, and I will just say Classic Vibe is kind of my number 1 pick. Number 2 would be the Gretsch Electromatic Jet. It's a little bit Les Paul-esque, but it's gonna kind of have its own kind of vibey thing going on as a Gretsch. And then my last one is an EPIPHONE Les Paul Standard, which is just gonna be your standard Les Paul and get you that standard Les Paul tone.
So what electric guitar under $500 do you think is the absolute best bang for your buck? Let us know in the comments below.
And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel here as well. We'll see you guys next time. Oh, what do you think of like these classic car colors?
I hate pastels. Even though I like this is weird because this is the color of my Tele. So I'm biased with it. Are you serious? I hate pastels. It looks like an Easter egg. Like this.
Shell pink. Shell pink is the number 1 best guitar color that's ever existed.
Tomato soup.
Fiesta red is another one. Beautiful.
Oh, I hate that color.
Oh, man.
I'm
so disappointed.
I'm more of a sunbursty or transparent. Like that.
Okay. Yeah. That's very like traditional.
I even like the butterscotch.
Yeah. Okay.
I do like that.